Greetings, bears. We've all played against each other. I've won a lot of games. I've lost on purpose in some tournaments, but never has someone really beaten me. And that is until LawnMowingBear, with his new picture here, looking very happy and successful. So he's laughing. He's laughing at all of us because he knows that he can beat all of us. And let's look at our record. So in LawnMowingBear's previous account, which was Horsey Goes Lay, I was, 19 wins, 0 losses. I was feeling good. Then he goes ahead, creates a new account, gets verified, and disgustingly, I'm 18 wins and 3 losses. And we're going to look at the 3 losses today pretty quickly. Let's look at the first one. So, first one, at the top you can see here, I'm rated 1942 at the time. This is rapid. All right, so we've each got 10 minutes. And LawnMowingBear here is rated 1428. And I think he played this after he was in decline. At this point, we had played half a dozen games, and we were winding up our session. So, LawnMowingBear, we're looking at it from his perspective. E4, C6, this is the carry calm. We practice it against each other quite often. We're going to see how he beat me. How did he beat me? Plays this F3 move, which looks a bit strange because you're thinking this is a square where the knight should be developed naturally, and that's true, but in the exception of opening theory. And this is part of opening theory. The point is, after black takes in the middle, now you take and white controls the center, and now the horsey's still going to go there anyway. You're going to castle kingside and get some nice open lines. And then this is also part of theory. Anyway, after here, LawnMowingBear's got a really nice attack, well, nice development. So the bishop is eyeing this juicy f7 square, which I've talked about in previous videos. And yeah, easy development. You can't go wrong with white in this position. But what you can go wrong with black is what I just played. Knight f6 is just the biggest mistake of the game. And I've already lost. Now, a more tactically aware player would understand the tactic here. And that is, it involves this knight moving. Once this knight moves, the bishop behind it is under attack from the queen. And you might be thinking, oh, well, this knight is already defending the bishop. Yes, but if you can get 2 attackers on the bishop, then you'll be able to take it. And that is done in this way. Bishop takes pawn on f7. It's a brilliant move. King takes. You have to, basically. And now knight takes with tempo, with check. And now the knight has moved out of the bishop's pin. And now it's a trade. So here black should just accept that they messed up. But I was feeling a bit greedy. I'd already won, 5 or 6 games in a row. I'm like, all right, queen check. And at this point, I realized I messed up. Because essentially, white's going to take my knight here. And I'm going to have to take with the pawn. And be left with a really terrible shelter for my king. And essentially the only way that I can protect this is if I go all the way back to my original square with the queen. And that psychologically is conceding. And sometimes in chess you should concede. But I decided to go here, and I'm thinking, I'm really clever because I'm going to stop him from castling. I'm going to buy some time, then I'm going to finally develop my knight here, and I don't care that I've got a pawn here, whatever. But in a couple moves, white gets very quick development. First you take, then check, bring the queen out. King comes up here, and now knight to c3. And hello, white's just going to castle queenside. This whole plan of me thinking I'm so clever, it's not relevant at all. Now I'm just stupid, and now this rook is going to come here anyway and put pressure on the king, which is staring down the file. So what I have to do with the queen, and one more thing, something to note, I can't develop my knight here because the queen is controlling it. This is really awkward piece configuration for me at the moment. I push the pawn, trying to get the queen off of this white diagonal, but LawnMowingBear, Maybe he recognized this, maybe not. Maybe this is just a comfortable square. Because actually, he can then move the rook here, and he's going to have some threats. So anyway, now I've got to bring my queen back. I've realized my plan has failed a bit. I'm thinking, oh, look, I can attack the pawn, and then maybe at the same time, it's a multi-purpose move. Now he pushes the pawn, and be careful, this has a threat. Can you see the threat? There's, quite a few threats. It's a great move. Push the pawn, why not? You'll get closer to the end of the board. You can push it with check. The main threat is queen takes pawn here. So I come back. Look, my queen came back all the way where she started. And that's where, things aren't going as planned. My knight is undeveloped. My rook, my whole back rank, guys. Castle, fantastic. My bishop comes out, maybe I'll trade some pieces, and I think I missed this. That he could just take a pawn with check. I have to stay close to the bishop because it's actually attacked twice. So I have to get my king in there to defend, but after takes, LawnMowingBear just did the right thing, which is take the pawns away from the shelter of my king, give a check, and now, where would you move? Where would you move with the white queen? Knowing my problems as black in the position. So what's my problem? It's development. These guys here, they've slept in to the battle, and the knight wants to develop. Like once the knight gets out, the rook can get out. Knight developing here is a bit sorry. So knight wants to go here, and again, white stays on that diagonal. And I think this is a really good move. Positional chess. And now how to develop my knight? Well, first I give a check, because sometimes you see the check, you play the check, you feel a bit better about yourself. Take the pawn, and I would like a queen trade actually. It makes things a bit simpler and I'll be able to develop my knight. But LawnMowingBear stays on that diagonal, attacks this, and my queen just can't defend it. I play one move which defends it in the short term, which is the pawn push. Now, all you 600s out there, maybe you wouldn't have seen that the queen's actually now been opened up on that diagonal. But white plays a great move here. That closes the diagonal again. That's d5. So now, queen's blocked. Now I can't defend that. I spend over a minute here thinking that I can have some cheap tricks that do work against lower rated players. So I bring the knight out here, queen takes rook, and I'm threatening a check. It's not actually checkmate. I mean, well, I could play something like this, and I can feel good about myself that, my plan worked. But after this, I've got nothing. I've still got nothing. Even if I try to do this, let's see, that probably holds. Yeah, I got nothing. Anyway, sometimes the opponent might get a bit worried. Here, take the check. I take the pawn with check. Why not? Rook slides over, and I take the pawn with the knight, because there is sort of a tactic that comes up a lot in puzzles where when two rooks are on the back rank and you're attacking one of them with the queen, you can try and deflect this one that's close to the king. For example, if the white rook takes here, now you take it. And again, you feel good about yourself. You got a tactic right. But in reality, if this would have happened, in reality, you haven't achieved anything. You're still dead lost. But I had another idea, which was why I thought for quite a long time. Maybe if he plays something like this, I've got this little idea, which is knight here, and then rook comes over with a double attack on the queen and the king. But this is still lost. White just pushes the pawn. I have to come all the way back just to put my queen on the most passive square possible. And white's got a simple idea of just wedging that queen out. So LawnMowingBear didn't even move the rook. LawnMowingBear just played rook to g1, rook hg1, and I resigned. I've got nothing. So well done, LawnMowingBear. That was great. Great idea to keep the queen on this diagonal, stop my development. And it all started from that tactic at the beginning. Bishop takes f7. Now, the next two losses against LawnMowingBear were in blitz. In this position, this is one of them. In this position, it's just a time scramble, but I have to include it anyway. I am white, technically got a winning position. All I really have to do is bring my king up and get the bishop out and push the pawn. I can also just push these pawns, but with 1 second left, and also I'm always playing on my phone, so my thumbs just I'm always losing time with every move, and it just ended in a time loss. Yeah, so LawnMowingBear won there. He also had 1 second, and to be fair, I've won in time scrambles against LawnMowingBear where I was actually losing, but I got him in the time scramble, so it does even out. The last one we're going to go through quickly here. And here I was rated 2300. I just reached the barrier, and then I got a request to play. I was like, all right. And then I lost, and I spent the rest of that night trying to get the rating back. I think I stayed up till 3 a.m. and I was still 50 points less. So thanks a lot, LawnMowingBear. I eventually ended up getting back over 2300. And then I lost 100 rating points in one night. Okay, in the game, something like this. And as you can see, now he's got the problem with these two undeveloped pieces. My piece is looking really good. I've got a really good tactic here. And the tactic is, again, similar to that first game, where once the knight moves, this bishop is going to be under attack. So the tactic involves knight takes. So you give up the knight for 2 pawns, which in some situations by itself can be good, especially if you have the central pawns here, unopposed. But also now there's 1, 2, 3 attackers here. And tactically it works. But in the game, I push the pawn, and he sacrifices the bishop there for 2 pawns. If I take the bishop, he's going to take with his queen. Now I see the tactic, and I'm trying to be a bit cute, because what I do now is I attack the queen, and then I push the pawn. And I'm trying to be like, oh, you know, he can't move his knight there. He can't move if he moves his knight back, it's really passive. He can actually move his knight forward because he's threatening checkmate, which I didn't really see. But he goes ahead and takes the pawn. And again, we were playing a series of blitz games, and I was feeling a bit rowdy, so I just decided to go for it. I lift up the rook thinking I'm pretty smart, but he just moves his king over, which is the top move, and I've got nothing. If I can somehow get my queen to put pressure on this pawn, which in turn would cause pressure on the diagonal, it would be great. But he develops his knight, which I wasn't able to do in the first game. I try to bring my knight back, centralize it a bit, get more defense, but he's just got too much firepower. He brings his own knight in, and we have to trade queens. And this is just a losing pawn and endgame. He's got 40 seconds, I've got 26. And my choice to bring the king here was just completely stupid, because this king isn't going anywhere. These 2 pawns here shouldn't move at all. This rook stays very comfortably here, and black has a great idea of just getting this pawn pushed. We're trying to take this pawn. You can even trade it and then push them. And in the game, that's what he does. And I give a spite check here, and I resign, because my king can't, you know, it can't try and come up and push the pawn, and it's just completely lost. Black will just push this pawn, make a queen. So well done, LawnMowingBear. I'm sure all of you have felt his terror, because he's a good player, and in this game, it says he's rated 1680. But let's have a look at his account here. Rapid, 1900 basically. This was his highest rating, 1900. So he is one to watch out for. And he has beaten even the likes of myself for real. I was trying in these games. So see you next time, everyone.